What's up, y'all? Welcome to 13 minutes of gig news in 13 minutes or less. All right, guys, we're going to get right into it today. See how many of these stories we can get through today. First one, the Department of Labor, the rule change that is going into effect in May has been pushed 120 days. It will be going into effect October 1st. The DOL, because of the Julie Sue nomination and some other things, they need the 120 days to lock down the rule, meaning they're making a couple changes to it. They're not big, but it won't be in place until October 1st. October 1st, will the sky fall? No. But we will start to see some of the effects slowly creep out from the rule change. But it also gives 120 days to the other side to try and maybe wiggle that down a little bit. So it's not like nothing can be changed, even though it's kind of being finalized. So there's still some negotiation wiggle room a little bit, and there's still some undefined things. So we don't know exactly how everything will go. But it is now scheduled October 1st. It is locked. It was May, but May it was just the month of May. Now we have an actual date, October 1st, rule change, finalized, done. So we will see what happens after the summer. The DoorDash deactivations, you guys. We did a piece on the Para Presents this week, and it was part 1 of 2. We'll be doing part 2 of 2 next week with David, Nova Dasher, and Mac from Portland, and myself. And the DoorDash deactivations that are going on are either most of the people getting them because they're happening in masses right now, like we've never seen before. People have always been deactivated, wrongfully deactivated, whatever. But now we're seeing more deactivations than ever. DoorDash has 4 to 8 times the amount of gig platform workers than any of the apps. So what's going on here? I think it's a two-part situation. I think there's 90% of the deactivations that are happening in masses right now are happening either due to DoorDash saying the fraudulent activity on your account, which is such a broad reason because it could mean so many different things. And as you know, as you might have heard from other people who have been deactivated, if you yourself have never had to face that situation, whether you came out of it or not, on a certain platform, if for those that know, the fraudulent activity can mean so many different things. It's got like about 60 subheadings under it. It could be, but as we know, we can't get that information. Um, it's very tricky to get any answers out of DoorDash, even to like make a $5 adjustment on your pay, more or less. Have a service rep tell you why you were deactivated, because if they accidentally misword something and you lived in a state where you can record the call, you can actually take that to a lawyer, even though you've agreed to not sue the company. We are seeing lawsuits coming out against DoorDash, and we are seeing judges and counties allowing these lawsuits to happen, saying that they're not gonna accept the I agree checkbox. They're kind of telling DoorDash, sorry, that checkbox isn't enough for us to not let this person sue you. So we're going to see how some things play out. I think that one of the things I hope for is way bigger than just gig economy. I hope the I agree to all the terms and conditions becomes more of a stage based thing. Like, here's part 1. What it is, and make it just a 20-second video on each part that you have to complete and watch, um, and click that you've watched it, so that, and if it's 8 parts, 8 times 20 seconds, you got to do those before you can log on, so that really you understand. Because if they make it 15 to 20-second explanations on each part that's changed or what is in the terms of service, you'd actually understand it. Because 90% plus of drivers do not read or understand the terms of service. So there is many deactivations going on. The other reason, though, other than fraudulent activity, is CHEKR. I did a short about it, and we talked about it a couple times this week. CHEKR is the cheapest and the worst background check company that there is on the planet. And primarily, the reason it's the worst is because of the first reason, the cheapest. When you make something the cheapest, it usually doesn't come with the highest quality or the best reviews or whatnot. cheapest usually means trying to undercut in most things, trying to undercut other things by giving up quality, by giving up performance, by giving up longevity. Things like that usually go away. I'll use batteries for instance. If you go buy a pack of 2D Duracell batteries, it can cost about $10. If you go buy a pack of 2 Ever-Ready batteries, it's gonna cost $1.99. I would rather go buy the pack of Duracells because it's gonna last 30 times as long as the pack of Ever-Readies that usually would die, like, within minutes of putting them in. So would you rather go get 5 sets of D batteries for $10 or 1 if the one lasts 30 times longer? That's kinda how I'm gonna put it on that one. So CHEKR is way behind, meaning there are more onboarding, not just DoorDash, but with all the gig apps than we've ever seen. Again, putting into perspective that maybe W-2s aren't the safest thing either. People are quitting or losing their W-2s. It's kind of like really nothing's really that safe right now. So, I mean, do you. Don't worry about all the things going on and gosh, should I go back to the W-2 where I can't make money here? Because if you are doing that, that's okay, but make sure that you're going back to the W-2 world with a plan on how you're gonna make the money, because if you're just going back to grab any job, you are completely a disposable employee, and I hate to say it that way, but you are. Um, as we know, the Attorney General of Washington, DC recently, the one who was going after Shipped and Amazon, obviously a smart guy, unlike all the other states that go after all the companies that don't make money, he was going after the 2 that do, and saying that we're employees and this and that and the other. Well, he's out of office now, and the mayor, Mayor Bowser, um, of Washington, DC, announced a partnership with DoorDash. Now, here's the partnership. Um, DoorDash is donating $500,000 to the mayor's office to buy 5,000 dash cams and give them to DoorDashers. Now, that comes out to $100 a dash cam. That's usually about the cost, but if when you buy bulk, if you're buying 5,000 of something and it costs $100, you can probably get it down to about 50, maybe 40. It depends on who you're working through. So, did he just make a profit of 250 not for his own pocket, but for his political campaign, for other allocations? So not necessarily even anything to him, but money that he can allocate to other services. Did he just make a deal with the devil kind of thing, where all the work that's being done against these platforms and cities, these are the kind of things I believe they use against us, or that the companies use back against the city if the city starts saying, "Hey, listen, we need you to make everybody an employee," and they're like, "Hey, don't forget, we gave you free rides to voting, free rides to medical. We've provided you free dash cams. We've made this deal with you. Instacart's doing low income delivery." So you've got all these reasons and all these deals being made, and they kind of negate any real chance of these a lot of legislation going through because you've got a lot of people paid off. Um, excuse me. Uh, by the way, last mile delivery people, Open Force and Ryder, both moving company trucks, um, have moved to allowing commercial vehicle rentals for last mile delivery and courier services. So you can rent Ryder Sprinter vans or Ryder trucks and get on Courier and Freight and these other things and work them and see how you do with the larger vehicles. That's just a quick little thing I wanted to implant there because I'm going to try it. I just have been like looking for which one I want to work with, and obviously, I'm gonna take the time to look into both these and what they would cost as well, because I'd like a couple weeks to rent one and see how it does. So we'll see how that goes. Um, and then, gotta talk about this. So we all know that a lot of DoorDashers had been, contacted by people, scammers, who were saying that they were DoorDash. You'd be on an order. There's a couple different ways that this scam could play out, but you'd be on an order and they'd call you and say, "Hey, you're currently on an order. Um, we need your dasher number," or whatever. They'd get a couple numbers from you that they needed. And by getting those, they could then access your bank account, clean it out, clean out what's in your DoorDash account, etc. And there have been people getting away with this for a while. Well, there was a driver, or there was a person caught who had done this to probably, I think it was around 100 people, maybe more. But he was targeted for something else, and somehow the police entered his apartment, and they found $733,000 of cash. Um, this guy is being held on a $2 million bond. And to put it into perspective, a murder victim on the same day had a case that was held on a $1 million bond. So that's how, I mean, they're treating it like more seriously than a murder, because he had all this in cash. It's just a crazy story. But here's the kicker of it. A lot of people, when we talked about this story, were like, well, that's great, like he's off the street. He's only one. There's hundreds or potentially thousands of people trying this now. So if you ever get a call, Gary made it very clear on Driver Nation how they see it and how you should hear this. If you get a call while you're on a delivery from DoorDash, it's not DoorDash. Under no circumstances does DoorDash call you while you're on a delivery. So if you ever get that call, either hang up or tell the person that DoorDash doesn't call while you're on deliveries. Try and get the number, anything that could help to catch that person, because it's not DoorDash. So if you're new to the game or whatever, and it hasn't happened to you, and you've only been doing it a couple weeks, and you happen to see this or hear this somewhere else, trust us. Don't take the delivery, or don't listen to it, because they don't call you. We're independent contractors. So as long as that's still the case, don't listen to them. Wow, guys, that was quick. That's 13 minutes of news in just under 13 minutes. Make sure to join us back here next week for another 13 minutes, as well as Driver Nation, Roundtable, The Last Mile. I got my show with Holly this week, and some other things going on in the audio podcast. So every week we got tons of things dropping. That's 13 minutes, like I said, in just under 13 minutes. Peace, y'all.